and welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Oded Grober. Thank you for joining me. Today on the program, in honor of the Angoulême Comics Festival, which takes place this weekend, we'll talk to a French-Lebanese artist about his new graphic novel. We'll see the growing animation scene of the comic book town. And we'll hear all about the science fiction series that will soon be invading our screens. So the Angoulême Comics Festival opens today. One of the books presented is the graphic novel Yalla Bye, set during the Second Israel-Lebanon War in 2006. With me now via Skype from Paris is the book's author and artist, Joseph Safieddine. Hello, Joseph. Can you please tell us a little bit about the book?
Bien sûr. Alors, ça se passe en 2006. Ça se passe donc en 2006.
Yes, of course. The story takes place in 2006. There's war between Israel and Hezbollah.
Qui part en vacances comme chaque année dans la famille du père.
And there's a French-Lebanese family who goes on vacation like every year to visit their father's family. The father is Lebanese and the mother is French.
Alors il y a le frère hémophile, la petite sœur, les deux parents.
The day after their arrival, the war breaks off and they get trapped in the south of Lebanon. The brother, who is a hemophiliac, the little sister and the two parents are in Tyre, and the older brother stayed behind in Paris. So the story is about the family who can hardly communicate.
La guerre de là-bas.
I see. Now, you yourself are French-Lebanese. Is this an autobiographical story?
Dans cette histoire, il y a l'ossature qui est...
The skeleton of the story is real. My family was really there, and I really was in Paris. And I have really distributed leaflets like in the story, because this is really about powerlessness. The character of Gabriel prints leaflets, gives them out to everyone, and tries to organize protests which are really not useful. He sees his family on the news, but he can't reach them. He can't do anything. All those things really happened, but I wanted to focus on the character of Mustafa, who is not like my real father. This character is a bit clumsy. He tries to redeem because of what happened in his own past, because he had to flee Lebanon in the 80s during civil war. Now he finds himself in the middle of the conflict, and so for him, it's the opportunity to redeem himself.
Right. Now, your book shows the ethnic diversity of Lebanon, and you also show some support of Hezbollah. Was it important for you to present the political aspects?
I didn't want political issues to be the center of the comics. On the contrary, but it's very complicated. As you know, Lebanon is completely divided. Many communities share the power, and in Lebanon, we are far from having a national unity. So I wanted the readers to understand that it's complicated. At the very least, that there are many different opinions. Some Lebanese support Hezbollah, and some can't stand them. So I want people to understand this diversity through a dialogue, without taking a side.
Right, of course. Now, I'm curious, have you seen Ari Folman's film, Waltz with Bashir?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. I love Waltz with Bashir. The graphic treatment is brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. Now, you will be in Angoulême this weekend alongside a few Israeli artists, including Gilad Seliktar and Tomer and Asaf Chanukah. Seliktar's book also deals with the Lebanon War. Did you get a chance to read it?
No, but it really interests me. I hope I will be able to meet him. I know Asaf Chanukah very well because we have the same publisher. We already have been in Angoulême together. We keep in touch, and I have recently read his latest comics co-written with his brother Tomer. I know he has worked on Waltz with Bashir's scenery. I'm happy to meet Gilad in Angoulême.
So, any chance of a collaboration maybe with an Israeli artist?
I
hope so. I even tried a couple of years ago to collaborate with Asaf Chanukah on an exhibition. There were a few Lebanese authors, and I was one of them. We were looking for Israeli authors, and we wanted to create a book together. But the problem is, you know that our countries are in war, and in Lebanon, One risks a lot by collaborating with the Israeli citizens. I think I don't really know the law, and so we thought about an exhibition. We wanted to call it Enemy's Words. We tried to do that, and we're still trying. We think about it a lot. I think it's a good way to get people closer, and I even hope that my comics, which deals with a trapped family in Lebanon, will reach Israelis who are living the same story. We are talking about human beings, and war doesn't spare anyone.
Right. Well, we certainly hope so as well. Thank you so much.
With pleasure.
Moving on, besides being the city of comics, Angoulême is also home to a flourishing animation scene with several studios employing a growing artist population. Let's watch the report.
The sequel of the legendary animated series of the 80s, The Mysterious Cities of Gold, was produced here in the Blue Spirit studio. Same studio that collaborated on Ernest and Celestine, nominated for an Oscar. The studio was established in 2004, inspired by the Pôle Image in Angoulême, built around the animated film school.
Angoulême, c'est un petit microcosme autour de l'animation.
Angoulême is a little microcosm of animation. There are several studios here, and there are people who profit from working in different studios, and the studios are enriched by animators who get experience in different studios and allow them to keep a high level.
Et qui permettent comme ça de garder un niveau élevé.
A high-quality level is known to be the French signature on the animation world, a French touch which can be found mostly in the Prima Linea studio in Angoulême in Paris. In 2003, they produced Wolfie, The Incredible Secret, which was awarded with the French César for Best Animated Film.
Je comprends pas. Normalement, la lune apparaît quand on fait ça.
Oh, je craque.
La French Touch, c'est peut-être cette capacité à aller explorer.
The French touch is perhaps this ability to go exploring territories.
Un style en particulier.
More than a style in particular, I feel that this diversity of styles makes the French touch, and also the concern about having a strong graphic image.
Une image graphiquement forte.
Exploring is a thing that they know how to do at Three Bears. This production company specializes in indie short movies. One of their greatest achievements is Kiki of Montparnasse. Awarded as the best animated short film last year, it was made with classic animation processes. That is to say, thousands of drawings and handmade paintings on real paper, and then filmed by a camera. For Serge Elissalde, this French touch is primarily the result of a policy supported by the government and some of the TV channels and cinema in France. In short, the so-called cultural exception.
If there were not all these activities, being a beautiful Frenchie wouldn't be enough. There would not be directors, technicians, no schools, and no jobs. There are also great talents in Italy, in Spain. Youths are as talented as here. But if we do not give them the means and the structures to do their job, they will not be able to show their expertise.
The animated movie sector represents about 5,000 jobs in France, 1,000 in Angoulême, essentially freelance jobs. France is the leading European producer of animation, the third largest behind the US and Japan.
With television, video games, and cell phones all fighting for our attention, we sometimes forget the simple pleasures like reading a comic book, for instance. And for some, this is a new discovery. That's the case of many blind people in Mexico who, for the first time, have access to a comic book in Braille. Sandy Fortis takes a look.
Comics, illustrated books which are the delight of children and adults around the world. A pleasure that many children, however, can't enjoy. Comic books are mainly made of drawings. The creators have often struggled to translate them into Braille, an obstacle that Jorge Grajales and Bernardo Fernandez have managed to overcome.
We offer something to these people who, let's admit, have been largely forgotten in terms of reading and culture. The right to read was kind of refused to blind people. There is very little books in Braille.
For this comic book in Braille, the Mexican writer and illustrator chose to tell a very unique story of an astronaut landing on a planet where the inhabitants have no eyes. They then teach him to see the world through other senses.
It's very exciting. Finally, a comic book in Braille. It's great that new things are available to us, the blind.
As Luis Eduardo, who learned to read Braille in the International Committee for the Blind, a non-profit association of Mexico, dozens of people received their first comic book in Braille, an initiative whose goal is to multiply.
Crear conciencia entre la población que no tenemos discapacidad.
The goal is to raise awareness of the daily challenges faced by people with disabilities. But it is also a social action because for each comic book sold, a pair of glasses will be provided to a visually impaired child from disadvantaged backgrounds.
Sold for the price of $2, the 16-page comic book should fund more than 1.5 million glasses for young Mexicans with vision disabilities.
In a moment, we'll talk about some new sci-fi shows coming to television, but first, here's our cultural recommendation for the day.
Founded in 1993, the Outsider Art Fair soon became a critical and commercial success. Recognized for its nonconformist spirit, the fair played a vital role in building a passionate collecting community. If your taste in art ranges from folky and visionary to surreal and paranoid, head over to the annual fair devoted to self-taught artists, where you'll find all of that and more. On tap are works presented by 50 international galleries from 27 cities, representing 8 countries, including painting, sculpture, drawing, mixed media, and photography. Also in view, a special exhibition spotlighting 5 artists curated by art dealer Jay Gournay.
And now Avri Rosen Tzvi is joining me in the studio to talk about 2 of the things he likes the most, sci-fi and TV.
And comics.
And comics.
Yeah.
You don't think we had enough comics on the show already?
Regular viewers of the show already know I love these things, but now apparently everybody loves these things because the fall TV schedule is filled to the brim with sci-fi and comic book shows.
I always thought you were a trendsetter. It's just now the rest of the world is catching up.
Yeah, it's like, you know, when we used to have, like, years ago, we used to have, like, one comic book movie in a decade, and we used to say, we want more, and now we're like, stop, we've had enough, it's okay, really. So be careful what you wish for. Exactly. So there are a lot of shows. I want to start with iZombie, which is going to be produced by Rob Thomas, who made Veronica Mars.
Sounds like an app to me.
It's like a zombie for the 21st century.
What did she eat?
No, she ate spaghetti there. Don't worry. But it's actually about a zombie girl. This one
who investigates, not just brains. Yeah, go ahead. I'll stop.
No, the thing is, when she eats a brain, she gets a vision of the person, which helps her solve crimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read the comics. It's pretty cute. And I have a confidence in Rob Thomas, who already made detective series, to do it well.
Yeah.
Daredevil.
Yes.
Very exciting. Coming to Netflix.
Not Ben Affleck.
Not Ben Affleck. It looks to be a very, very exciting show. We have Charlie Cox, who we know from Boardwalk Empire. If you've been watching that show, as the Irish gangster. He's going to be starring as the Man Without Fear. We haven't seen video from this, but it looks to be very exciting.
I can see you're very excited. Go ahead.
Another show based on a comic book is Powers, which is about 2 investigators who investigate superhero crimes, or crimes that have happened to superheroes. It has a former superhero teaming up with I forget the guy's name, Charlton Copley, who we know from District 9.
Okay.
This is his first television series, and it's like the first foray of the PlayStation Network into this into drama series.
Interesting.
So it could be very interesting.
Everybody's making shows now.
Everybody's making shows.
Make a show. All right.
I should. Moving beyond comics, the recent season of Amazon pilot saw The Men in the High Castle, which is a Philip
that looked
K.
very
Dick.
interesting.
The pilot is very good. It's about an alternate history in which the
Germany
Nazis
and Japan,
and it takes place in the 60s.
And they divided the U.S. between Japan and Germany, and there's like a narrow strip.
Yeah, it's very well made. Just to name a few more, we have 12 Monkeys, which is an adaptation of the
show
movie.
so far has been
it's not good.
Not that great.
It's not good.
Well, unfortunately, we end on that note.
Yeah, well,
what?
Okay. There are more.
One more.
Sense8, another Netflix series by the Wachowskis. Very. Yeah.
All right. They have a new film and a new show. Great. Thanks so much, Alvin.
Thank you.
Thank you at home for watching us. I hope you enjoyed our show. We'll be back tomorrow with our weekend edition and again on Monday with a whole new show for you. So please join us again.